Welcome to the Tech Sharmit podcast, where technology is not just news, but the roadmap to the future. This is a space where we explore the latest tech trends, AI, startups, gadgets, and the ideas that redefine the way we think. Leading this conversation is Amit Sharma, globally recognized as Tech Sharmit. A technologist from Bharat, Amit brings an Indian perspective to the global technology landscape. With deep technical expertise and strong industry insight, and for his contributions and impact within the global tech community, he has been recognized with several prestigious honors, including Google Developer Expert, Microsoft MVP, IBM Champion, and Planet Mainframe Influencer. Through this podcast, he shares practical knowledge, real-world perspectives, and globally relevant thinking designed to help you stay ahead in an ever-evolving technology landscape. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Tech Sharmit channel to stay updated with future episodes. And if you're looking to level up your skills, don't forget to explore the Tech Sharmit digital course book in the description box, where you'll find thousands of free programming courses curated to help you grow as a developer. So plug in your headphones and join us as we begin today's episode of the Tech Sharmit podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I'm joined by another very special guest, Pouya Koushandehfar, who is joining us from Australia. If I talk about Pouya, then he is a senior manager in cybersecurity and privacy, a Microsoft MVP in security, and a Microsoft certified trainer. Also, he is contributing as a lecturer. So in today's episode, we will talk about cybersecurity strategy, hybrid security architecture, AI-driven threats, and how organization can make smarter, more effective security decisions. But before we get started, I would like to thank Pouya for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Thanks, Sharmit. First of all, thank you for inviting me and being part of your actually podcast that you are having great people actually always as part of the leaders and experts in the industry around the world. So great to be here. So as you mentioned, my name is Pouya Koushandehfar. As you said, actually, I'm the senior manager in one of the big consulting firms in Australia, and I'm actually as you mentioned, is Microsoft MVP and Microsoft MCT as well. For many years, I think my Microsoft MCT is going over 10 years now. And my Microsoft MVP is almost actually a year. So which I've actually just got that award last year from Microsoft in the security category, as you mentioned, which is close to the security copilot, which is the AI space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So, Pouya, you have spent more than I think 16 plus years in IT and also in security. So, what was the moment early in your career when you decided that yes, this is the exact field where you want to contribute for the IT industry, specifically to the cybersecurity?
So I don't think so. It was a single moment that I can say exactly I started from there, but it was a more series of experiences early on. So I was started actually studying IT from the second year of my high school. When I actually just having the second year of a high school, I went to the technical school to learning IT, and that's why I was in love actually. I was in love with the computers and IT and programming and those type of things. So, but after that, professionally, actually, I've just started seeing how technology wasn't just supporting the businesses, but actually enabling them to operate, scale, and innovate in different ways, technically.
Yeah.
That's really clicked to me, which is I need actually to get more serious about the IT and come to the industry. So I started actually seeing but in the real turning point, I would say, was when I got exposed. I started actually with this IT and the different cloud technologies and those things, especially with the Microsoft technologies, which is now is over 16, 17 years, which I'm in this industry and really deep in Microsoft space. So, but the real turning point was when I got exposed to the security. So I realized that behind of every system, there is
Mm-hmm.
a layer of the trust in the organization. So, and if that trust is broken, everything else collapses technically. So that's when I decided to not just to work in IT and a bit cloud technology, which I was bent to the being a solution architect for many years, but to go deep into the cybersecurity. And because it sits at the intersection, I believe it sits in the intersection of technology, risk, and the human behavior, whatever is happening in different organizations around the world.
Okay. So was there any particular moment or particular decision that you regret to took in your early days or something like that that you want to wish you can change now, or even if you get a chance to restart your career? So anything that you feel that
Not
yes,
really.
it can be improved.
Yeah. Not really, to be honest. When I made decision to start to get educated, get learning in
Correct.
IT, it was the first decision that I had, as I said, in the first year of my high school. So I said, I want to go with IT. And I just started for the second year of the high school, going to the technical school and starting from there, from in my back home country. Because I'm actually is almost now I think is it 12 years I'm in Australia. So yeah, so that was actually I think that was a decision moment which I've made decision actually to get okay, I need to go to IT. That's what I love actually to do. So pretty much that's it.
Okay. All right. So now we all know that you are not only contributing as a senior manager, but you are also actively contributing and leading to multiple communities as well, like Microsoft Zero to Hero, MS Farsi, uh, and many other things. So can you share the vision behind these community, like why they are so important for the IT industry, the impact they have had so far, and how they are helping in bridging the gap between the learning and the real world cloud AI and cybersecurity skills?
Sure. I think those communities firstly started with the other leaders, my peer leaders actually in those communities, which they are also very active around the world. Some of them based in Europe, some of them in US. So I've just got actually that joining that team technically over, I think it's over 1 year and a half now, if I don't
Mhm.
mistake date. So which have started to work with them and take that leadership from the APAC region perspective to
Okay.
bring a lot of speakers in the APAC region technically come and talk from the lens of the managerial and the technical perspective. But the vision behind of that communities, I would say, like Microsoft Zero to Hero and MS4C, really comes from a simple idea which that team started. They said making learning more accessible to everyone, practical, and also community driven. So that was the time they when they made that decision to start these communities. It started from that vision technically, but for example, if I want to talk about the Microsoft Zero to Hero, for example, is part of the Microsoft Learn ecosystem. So it's official actually community which is working on the Microsoft Learn, and it was built to bring people together. So from the complete beginners to the experienced professionals, we have a very collaborative environment for everyone, technically, as part of that
Yeah.
community. So, what is make it unique in that format for the Microsoft Zero to Hero is not just about the content which we are actually making as part of that community. It's more about interactive learning through live sessions, workshops, peer-to-peer collaborations. People can ask the question as part of those sessions and get a bit of the understanding. So if I want to give a bit of the example to you, during last 1 year, so we hosted more than hundreds of the global sessions and
Okay.
grown to thousands of members. So that's community thousands of members at the moment, and which shows the level of the engagement and the demand from the actually people around the world. So um, and that community is not just covering cybersecurity, which is my expertise, but cloud and AI, data, and real world Microsoft technologies, all of across all of the Microsoft technologies technically. So it's and the goal is to help the people actually to move from the theory based content to more hands-on experience
Practical
through
things.
the structured learning paths, mentorship, practical discussions, getting to that level of those things. The same for the MS4C, as if I want to say, the impact goes even further. So because it removes the language barrier now. So it enables
Yes.
Persian speaking professionals around the world to access the same level of the knowledge. So and the guidance and opportunity, they can be in touch with the experienced people in the industry.
Yes, and I'm also agree on these all points, specifically towards the community involvement and these kind of communities. Because when you involved in these in such communities, you know how to interact with people. You are not only learning the technology, you are also learning the other soft skills. Your interaction skills are improved. You know what to deliver, when to deliver, and how to deliver. Because when you are interacting with the like-minded people, there are alternative ways that you can opt when you are deciding your solution. Because now you have all idea like what all possibilities are there. If there is any particular challenge that you can came forward with your community, and they will help you to took your decision in the right way. So yes,
Exactly
definitely.
right.
I think we both recommend all the young folks who are into their graduation time. So yes, try to involve in such type of communities. Try to contribute in these communities so that you can understand how the actual IT scenario work when you are working with the real world scenarios. So it will really help you them.
That's exactly right.
All right. So now, Boya, like moving ahead, we will talk about Microsoft security stack. So let's talk a bit about Defender, Essential, Purview, because these are the things that has grown dramatically. So, in your experience working with public sector as well as private sector client, where do the organization most commonly misconfigure or maybe underutilize these tools of security stack?
That's a very good question. I believe that something I've seen quite often actually is happening across different type of organization, different size of the organizations even, and private actually companies. So the biggest issue isn't usually the technology itself, I would say. So uh, it's underutilization and misalignment with the business processes they have in the organization. So it's not about the technology, which vendor they're going ahead with, right? It's more about understanding of what is exactly the business requirements in your business before adopting a technology. So that's very important understanding, because a lot of organization, a lot of experts in the organization, when I see actually they're recommending some technologies in the market, is because of the favorite of a brand or a favorite of a product and those type of things. They're not looking at what is exactly my business requirement, what's exactly the problem that I'm trying to solve.
Yes, right.
So that's what we are very focused in the place that I'm working. I'm always was behind of my mindset is what's the problem that you have at the moment, regardless of the technology, how the technology can solve it. What is the problem? How is the business processes? And based on that, you can adopt some technologies to automate it, to resolve some pain points that you have in the business or any other matters. So technically, I would say, as an example for the Microsoft and some of the Microsoft technologies that you named, like as a Sentinel,
Yeah.
many organizations ingesting the data but don't mature the direction on logic and automate responses in the business. So
Hmm.
of course, any SIM solutions, if you're like a Sentinel, you can ingest a lot of logs, a lot of actually, I would
Yes.
say telemetries from different systems, but um, it's going to become more logging platform than with true SIM and SOAR and what you are trying to address and resolve as an issue that you have at the organization, especially in the security operation space. So with the Defender, I would say often see capabilities like attack surface reduction, identity signals, not really fully enabled or tuned in the level that you need in the organization. And
Yes.
of course, reducing the false positive in the organization. And Purview, which is recently was a one product, but now is a suite of products in Microsoft actually a space. So organization underestimate the value of the data classification, I would say, and inside the risk management.
Hmm.
So, and that's I would say is the fundamental of any data security program in the organization is you understanding what type of sensitive information that you have in the organization from both data governance and data security lens perspective. So they deploy it but they don't operationalize actually those functionalities of the product.
Yes.
So the pattern is consistent. Tools are deployed, but not fully integrated into a security operating model in the
Hmm.
organization, along with the business processes they have. So the real value I would say, is coming from the platforms getting connected, integrated, and aligned technically with the business, how the business actually operates in the organization.
Yeah. Yeah, I think these are some initial steps that every organization should consider or pay attention to before they adopt the further methodologies, because these are the basic checklists that they can follow in order to decide the things in a better way. So that's a great checklist.
Exactly.
Other than that, security stack, like Poya, there are few more things that highly impact the overall growth of the any ecosystem. So my question is, like, when a client is running, let's say, a very complex hybrid environment on-prem, Azure, M365, at all, or using all these things. So what's your go-to framework for deciding where the security parameter actually lives today, if it is performing well or not, or maybe other checklists when we are dealing with such tools like on-prem, Azure, M365 all together for a complex hybrid environment? So what are your go-to framework there?
Um, of course, a lot of organizations already moved completely to the cloud, but still we have some actually organization which is have a mix of the hybrid
Yes.
environments, like as on-premises and a bit cloud, and pretty much I would say hybrid actually type of environments is still is in place in most of the organizations due to the different reasons. It could be because of they don't want to some certain data is going to the cloud, because of they still feeling actually that risk exists for the data is going to the cloud. But I would say the concept of the, especially from the security lens perspective, I would say the concept of the traditional perimeter is essentially gone. So, and I believe that today the perimeter is the identity, right?
Yes.
So, especially in the hybrid environments, which you have on premises, Azure, Microsoft 365, or any other hyperscalers, AWS, GCP, regardless of which platform they're using. The control point is no longer the network that we had traditionally, right?
Mhm.
It's who is accessing what under what conditions, technically in the business.
Okay.
So that's exactly going back to that identity piece that I was mentioned. So
Yeah.
my go-to framework when I was actually going to that step is grounded in the zero trust. And
Okay.
normally I'm saying, which is as probably you know, the zero trust is based on three principles. It's very simple principles. So it's saying verify explicitly, use least privilege, and
Okay.
assume breach. So these three principles from there is clearly just make the fundamentals of what mindset that you need to have, regardless of what platform to use and what's the structure and architecture of your organization. These three principles, because behind of the identity and access management, so technically you're going to actually be based on that. So from there, that's why I'm looking at the identity as a control plane, endpoints as an enforcement, I would say, enforcement points,
Mm-hmm.
and data as I would say, the ultimate asset to protect in the organization. So, so instead of asking, where is the perimeter, which was your question, how is the
Yeah.
perimeter is going to be, the better, I would say the better question is how we are continuously validating of trust across identity,
Different
devices, and the
yeah.
data that we are going to protect in the organization.
Correct. Yes. And as we talked about, like we talked about identity, there is another very important term that is access management. And you consult across identity as well as access management, threat protection, and also for the information protection. So, for example, Poya, like we have a mid-sized organization that had budget only for one of these pillars this year. So, from your experience or from your guidance, what would you suggest to prioritize when they are dealing with such situation? They are budget bounded, and they have to work across all these pillars. So, how you will prioritize these things, and what are the reason behind those priorities when you are, let's say, if you are putting the protection threat protection on first. So what are the reason behind that? So overall, what you look towards that?
If I would say if the organization should prioritize one to
Mm-hmm.
go ahead with something like as what you mentioned, I
Yeah.
would say that would be identity and access management, the same as what I mentioned in the previous question. So,
Yes.
and the reason is simple. So I did because as I mentioned, identity is the front door to everything
Mm-hmm.
today, and I think it's the start of, and it get more amplified as part of the COVID when the COVID is started to happen. So, because a lot of people started to working remotely in the organization, so
Yeah.
they were not in the network of the organizations anymore. So they couldn't actually manage that. That's why I'm saying identity is the front door to everything, and that because wherever they are, they're using one identity which is allocated to that person, which can access to whatever is supposed to be access to technically. So
Yes.
most attacks and today, especially in the cloud environments, and also the on-premises, regardless of if you have a hybrid environment, are identity-driven type of attacks, like as I would say credential thefts, like as privilege escalations, like as token abuse. All of these things is the different type of threats is going back completely to the identity. So if you can, if any you and any organization is gonna technically strongly control identity
Mm-hmm.
through the multi-factor authentication, conditional access policies, through the least privilege, and those principles, you technically they can significantly reduce the attack surface for the
Okay.
organization. So, and and I would say if that identities get strong enough, that also amplifies the effectiveness of other pillars of the data of the
Yes,
cybersecurity
it will impact
domains.
all those things. Yeah.
Exactly. So investing in the identity is not just a, I would say, it's not just a control that you consider in top of your head. I need that control to be in place.
Correct.
It's a force. Normally, they are saying it's a force multiplier
Mm.
for your entire security strategy that you have for your organization.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now, Poya, I need one more advice, specifically towards the senior, as a senior stakeholder, because as a trusted advisor to us, other senior stakeholders, how do you communicate a sophisticated risk to a board or maybe a C-suite that doesn't have any technical background? Suppose they are not aware of any technical thing, theft related information. So without oversimplifying or alarming them unnecessarily, how you will explain or what all things you are going to share with them as a trusted advisor to our senior stakeholders?
Right. So I would say the key for the organization, especially when you're talking with the stakeholders and CXO type of people,
Yeah.
is the key is to translate the cyber risk to the business risk.
Mm-hmm.
Because executives don't need to understand the technical details. They don't
Yes.
understand that technically, and they are not supposed to understand the technical details.
Correct.
So they need to understand the impact to that business. So instead of talking about vulnerabilities, alerts in the organization, I would normally actually frame it in the terms of what would be the financial impact to your organization if that happened?
Yes. Very important.
What's going to be the operational disruption in your business if that happened? What's going to be the reputational damage to your business and brand if that's happened?
Correct.
So, and that's how actually I'm going to translate that cyber risk to the business risk because they understand, oh, financial impact. I know what you're talking about. So, I also focus on the scenarios. Which is what would happen any of these actually if the controls get failed in your organization, what's going to happen to your business? So technically it's translating from the cyber risk to the business risks. So, and importantly, I would say always pair risk with the clear, I would say actionable recommendation for the
Hmm.
organization. It makes sense for them. Okay, what's going to be the, okay, what I need to do, right?
Yeah.
I understand that's risk is this, what I need to do as a next step to make sure that's not happening or reduce that risk at least, not completely mitigate that, at least reduce that risk for my business. So the goal is not here to, I would say, fear or to make that fear or create the fear to that stakeholders, but it's technically but enabling them technically those stakeholders to making the informed decision, right? So decision making is going to be informed. In an
Hmm.
informed way, they are making that decision. So that's pretty much I want to say is normally when talking with the people and just say if they feeling actually we want to scare them of something is going to happen to your organization, which is not the case. We're
Correct.
trying to enable them to have the informed decision making.
Okay, so I think we can conclude that instead of sharing the detailed technical terms, we can relate it with business terms, like you shared about the financial thing. We can explain about the financial conditions, overall impact. Then only they can understand like how it is going to impact their business, and then they will help you to understand
Of
the
course, if
right
you are talking
decision.
with the high level of the stakeholders in the
Yes,
organization, if you are talking with the technical people, it's very easy to talk with them in technical level,
technical
in the
level. Yeah.
technical language. But if you are talking with the CXO people, of course, yeah, you need to translate it to make it more sense for them.
Okay. All right. Okay, so now Poya, moving ahead, we will talk about one of the hot topic nowadays, that is artificial intelligence, and we all know that it is going to change everything. So, in terms of security, also it is going to change. So AI, like we all know that AI is being woven into both attacks tool as well as defense platform at speed. So, from your vantage point of building security offerings, what do you think, like is the defender or maybe the attack benefiting more nowadays from AI, and what does that mean for like how we architect, like in terms of AI specifically, what do you think, like attackers are taking more advantage of it or those who are into the defending role? So overall, when you are designing or something architect from for security perspective in 2026, how would you decide and what all things you will keep in your mind?
Right. Um, right now, I would say both of those sides are
Hmm.
benefiting of the AI. So
Okay.
the attackers are benefiting from the speed and scale they can have the attack against of the organization,
Hmm.
while the defenders or those cybersecurity experts in the organization benefiting from the visibility and automation in the organization.
Okay.
So, of course, the attackers can use AI to generate like as a phishing campaigns or find the vulnerabilities in the organization faster.
Hmm.
But defenders now the tools like Security Copilot, which is as an example, which I'm
Yeah.
actually the MVP in that space, that can analyze the signals. They can correlate the data. They can respond much faster um, than before because they are before was they need to go to different type of actually events and alerts and those type of things and find out who's that person, who's that actually third actor trying to do something. Now is because of the AI, is quickly they can get a bit of the insight in advance to get on
Correct.
top of those incidents. So the challenge and opportunity is how we are architecting security moving forward in the
Yeah.
organization, especially if you want to consider the defender's point of view. So I would say in 2026 and beyond, security operations is going to be more agentic. And you can see not just Microsoft, a lot of other vendors in the market, they are going that towards that path. And AI-driven workflows and also um, technically the automations that they are putting in place can
Mm.
assist and even execute some of those decisions. Of course, I believe that the human should be always in the loop of the any AI system due to a lot of reasons. I mean, we and that's what we are saying as part of the firm as well. So humans should be always as part of the loop of the any execution, any decision making
Yeah.
as part of any agentic system. So organization need to design technically with this actually in behind of their mindset, which is integrating AI into the detection, response, and even sometimes governance in the organizations to get beyond of what was traditionally how we are defending the organizations against of the attackers and hackers and threat actors. So definitely AI is playing a key important role in this space.
Okay. All right. So although like Poya, like both things, security as well as intelligence, is a topic on which we can have multiple question, we can have multiple discussion, but we are short on time, so I just want to take one more technical question before moving to the next segment of the call. So let's say if someone is there who has a solid sysadmin or engineering skills today and wants to move into the role of senior cyber security consulting role over the next 2 to 3 years. So, what one piece of advice you wish to share with someone who had given you, who has all those required skill into the sysadmin and network engineer profile, and they wanted to pursue the senior cyber security role in the upcoming years. So, what one piece of advice would you like to share?
The one piece of advice I always saying to my students, even in the university, is don't just learn the tools, learn how the
Okay.
systems and the getting felt in the organization. So I believe that a lot of people are focusing on the certifications, technologies, and those things, which are very supportive of that, of course, but and very important for the journey of your career.
Yeah.
But what is really differentiate you is understanding the concept behind
Okay.
of those things. So, because if you understand the concept properly, any tools you're gonna actually work with, is the learning of the tool is very easy, right?
Yes.
Understanding the concept, how it works behind of the scene, and why it does that way, that's very important. And the second one is building the communication skills early.
Very
So,
important.
especially when it's coming to the consulting actually domain and space, the communication is the key. So communication skills as a student before you go starting at any actually as a junior job, or if you want to from junior go to this actually the higher roles, the communication skills is very important in any stage.
Definitely, I think this is the best advice anyone can follow in order to pursue the career in a better way. Because like coding also, like you can learn any programming technical language, you can learn syntax and structure, but what really makes more importance is the business logic. If you know how to solve the issue, how to approach the issue, that thing will need a skill. Syntax and structure you can learn for any language. Similarly, in case of tools, you can learn the tools, but if you know the basic fundamentals, you can easily adopt the tool and you can learn by the time. So that's the
That's
one
what
thing. And also, as you mentioned about the soft skills like communication skill. So if you are into consulting role, you need those skills to talk, like how to talk with someone who don't have any technical knowledge or with someone who has a technical knowledge. So you these are the things that will really help you to perform in a better way.
for sure.
Okay. All right. So now, Poya, we will talk about the network of support, because what I believe, like behind every successful person, there's a support of network. So looking back on your own journey, who were the key people around you who had a defining impact on your journey so far?
So there is no doubt the first actually people behind of me supporting me is my family, always, always.
Yes.
But I've been fortunate actually to learn from a mix of the mentors, colleagues that I had in different companies that I worked, and even the community members that I'm dealing with. So early in my career, so there were people who challenged how I think,
Okay.
and not just what I know, but that had been the lasting impact. So that was very important. How you thinking about the different topics, different matters happening to your life. So, and more recently, being part of the, of course, the global communities and including the Microsoft ecosystem, different people in Australia and outside of Australia. So he is helped me a lot actually to have and exposed me actually to a lot of the incredible minds and diverse, I would say, perspectives people have. So I believe the learning is not one directional. I'm telling even to my students at university, I'm learning every day from them as well. It's not just I'm teaching
Yes,
them,
it's a
I'm
byproduct.
learning from there as well.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So now, before we conclude the overall discussion, I just want to take one more question regarding the place you belong from. So, as a proud citizen of Australia, what is one thing about your country that you wish to share with the global audience? I know there are so many things in which Australia has contributed to the global community, but one thing that is close to your heart that you wish to share with the rest of the world.
For sure. Australia is the second country which I'm calling home. So Australia bring a lot of actually. I really appreciate about Australia the balance and the opportunity given to me actually to work and live actually here in Australia, and which is technically helping all of the people, regardless of what culture, what actually ethnics and whatever they are coming from, they are always welcome of those people from different communities. And that's, I would say, is a multicultural type of countries, which is hard
Yeah.
to find around the world, where you are learning and you are enjoying different cultures of the people from the different countries they're coming to this to Australia, different foods, different musics. So you're
Yes.
gonna enjoy actually from different type of. But from the tech perspective, I would say there is a growing ecosystem, I would say, in Australia. So especially around the cybersecurity and AI here during the last couple of years, with a strong, I would say, collaboration between industry, government, academia.
Yeah.
So they are all very strong actually collaboration exists there. Definitely, from the personal, I would say from the personal perspective, it's a lifestyle and openness of my people, of people actually, which is standing out in the community. So, it's create actually the environment, which is the ideas of different type of people can grow and people can thrive in the journey and in their life.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, thank you so much, Pouya, for joining us today in this episode and for sharing so much information about AI, and not only about AI, but other stuff that you are contributing for a very long time. It was really a pleasure talking to you here, and I'm sure the audience will also find this very insightful. So, thank you once again for being a part of the show.
No worries at all. Thank you again for your invitation and have a great day.
Thank you.